The season starts out with a wedding. So, what's her name? Zari. Yes, Zari. Zari is getting married to this guy that we're just now being introduced to, and it doesn't seem like majority of the cast have met him. One guy, what's that guy's name? Oh my gosh. He's engaged to Kaylee. But anyway, he has met him. But I don't believe that much of anybody knows this guy. But apparently he's much younger than Zari. So we're seeing here where, people are reacting to, I guess, the invitation. And Annie was surprised she got an invite. So did Fantana. But she said, well, she's going to go anyway. She likes, I guess, drama. So everybody's getting ready for the wedding. And all the casts are there. They're talking. And as each person arrive and they sit down to chit chat. And once everybody's there, they're like, oh, where's Annie? Is Annie coming? And so she was the last of the group to arrive. And so she gets there and everybody's fake as usual. Greeting and all of that. Everybody acts like it's cool. Swanky it seems like everything's okay between the two, but based on what we're hearing in the confessionals, they haven't really been in touch. So, I guess it's good that everybody's being civil, but at the same time, everything's not good among them. So, Luis is there, and he's saying that this year he's not gonna let people walk over him, and he's gonna be more assertive. So apparently, he's been asking to Fantana out. He has a crush on her, but she has been like, hell no. According to her, he's too soft. If he really liked her, he would have taken her away from Diamond. And so apparently her and Diamond are kind of on the outs in a sense, because there's word swirling that he's seen some girl in Tanzania. Of course, she makes it seem like they have an open type of thing, an open type of relationship, but Diamond is not being open. She's been open as far as what her intentions are, what she's doing, and he's kind of making it seem like she's the only one, but she's not. Which I'm just like, why would you believe anything that Diamond said? Diamond is a player. And not only that, although he won't admit it, he seems to still have a thing for Zari. So I don't know why she felt like it was a good idea to be even involved with him to begin with. So, but anyway, so we're introduced to a new cast member. I can't remember her name, but she's a very popular in their country, and she's an influencer. She's an author and really pretty girl. She kind of hit it off with Annie when they met, because she's a mom of two. Annie's a mom, and so she kind of have good vibes with her. But of course, I don't know. I really want to like Annie, but Annie just seems like she's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to me. So anyway, when the wedding happens, once it starts, well, before the wedding started, there's a young man who came up and said he was Zari's first son, and asked them to, move to wherever they were going to start the wedding. And so they're like, Zari's old son. Oh my goodness. It doesn't seem like most of them knew that she had a kid that old, but apparently she has 3 older children, because prior to now, we have only known, or I had only known about the 2 little ones that she had for Diamond. So this was news to me. But anyway, so during the wedding procession, the actual officiation of the wedding, Annie was hinting, she was sitting next to, what was that girl? One of the other girls. And she was making it seem like Zara is copying her wedding, trying to emulate her wedding venue, because she said her wedding was in the garden, the whole setup. She was making it seem like, she's trying to copy her wedding, like she's jealous of her. And then she wanted to confront Fantana about some little beef that they had. And I'm like, why? It's the wedding. Yes, you might have a beef and you feel like it's imminent, it's urgent, but why at the wedding? It's not like you're at the wedding venue, but you're like, have a place where you can have privacy. You're sitting next to other guests. So she's bringing stuff up there, and it's like, oh my goodness, like, why are we doing this right now? Anyway, after they had the wedding, they had the ceremony. Oh, during the wedding, she was saying that, it seems like she was like, doesn't feel, I guess she doesn't have anything positive to say. And apparently they were talking about among the girls, the age of the guy. One person was saying, oh, maybe it was before the actual ceremony, but apparently one person thought he was 27. One person said he was 23. So he's much younger than her. So Annie had something to say about that. Then surprisingly, during the ceremony, she got up to have a toast, but it was just the weirdest toast I had ever seen or heard, because she said she had, something to say because she invited her to the wedding, and it makes it seem like it was kind of like a confrontation, but then she was saying that she's happy for her. I don't know. It was weird. I was just like, is she drunk? Like, what is happening here? Why would you get up to have a toast and not have like pleasant things to say, or things to say that's not obviously pleasant? What are we doing? So anyway, Zari was equally baffled, but anyway, she's like, okay. So then after the next day, well, I don't know if it was exactly the next day, but Annie meets up with Fantana because she claimed that she wanted to get to know her better. This is what Fantana says. She wanted to get to know her better. But when they went to go have lunch, it turned into a whole bitching and bashing session, because she was talking about Swanky and how Swanky, lied on her, and how he's not a good person, and how he made her kids question her morals because of the tape, and how she was saying, they were questioning her about what Swanky said and how Swanky's close to her family. But I thought last season, then when they had talked about this tape that existed, and how she was bashing him and he was on the line and she didn't know he was there, I thought they squashed that. Now she's bringing that up again, and then she's talking about Zari, about how the husband is, was it her that she said that? She said something. She was just talking about overall Zari, and what was the other girl's name? I can't remember her name. I want to say it's Melody, but I don't think that's it. So she has beef with the other girl, and so there's bashing with that. And of course, Fantana is friends with Swanky and the other girl, so she's like there, and she's like, of course I'm gonna go tell him. And she says, as they were wrapping up the lunch, that she wanted to get to know me, but all she did was sit and bash everybody. So of course she's gonna go back and tell. Now the new girl who's on the cast, the influencer, I'll have to put her name in the thing, but so she arrived as the +1 with Swanky at the wedding, which Zari didn't know anything about. So she was kind of like caught off guard with this lady arriving late, and she was like, okay, now I'm tired of Swanky just doing what he wants to do. So of course that's something she's tabling to confront him about, apparently in the near future. So yeah, so she left the lunch, and yeah, it was just a whole, I don't know. I want to like Annie, but I don't know. She's just unusual, to say the least. So of course so the new cast member, I'll have to drop her name. I'm forgetting her name, but she had a lunch. She was meeting up with the ladies to have a lunch, and I guess it's a get to know you. I don't know. But first Annie arrived. They were doing good, and then the other girl arrived. So yes, Nadia. Nadia is the other girl that Annie has a beef with, which I don't even know. What's the beef about. I'm sure it's something that carried over from last season, which I don't really recall. But the new cast member, her name was Kefilwe. So anyway, so she had the lunch. So then after her and Annie were there, Nadia arrived. Immediately there was tension between the two because Nadia was tired of, the constant, I guess, being the bigger person. Of course, Fantana had told her, about what was happening, what was said at the lunch. So now she's on 10. They're going back and forth, arguing about what was said. And then Annie ended up leaving. And then after she left, then I think Swanky had gotten there and Zari and her husband had gotten there. And so, of course, Annie runs out. But we'll find out later when Annie is confronted by everybody about all this stuff that she's been saying. She's claiming that they're lying, which is not the case. Like, you said these things, at least own up to it. So anyway, so this guy that, I forgot to mention, this guy that Zari is getting married to, he had spoken to, what is this guy's name? I forgot his name. The guy that is engaged to Kaylee. What is his name? That's not Andile. Naked DJ. He was saying, oh, well, I've been married, twice before and my car's parked out front. So if you're ready to go, if you need an escape or whatever. So he was joking around. But then later in the conversation, he's like, oh, he seems like he's panicked. But of course, you're the one who's given him second thoughts as well. But anyway, so he was saying, trying to encourage him and telling him how he's never seen Zari so happy and relaxed as when she's with him. And he brings up concerns that he was having about how touchy-feely she was being with Diamond. And, he felt disrespected. But you're talking to him about this on the wedding day. Why are we still having these concerns on the wedding day? Which is kind of like, he thought was weird, and so did I. Why wouldn't you have confronted Zari about this? Or Diamond, like, look, I know you guys had a relationship before, but she's with me now and it's disrespectful. Well, he said that he had talked to Zari about it and she said she wouldn't let it happen again or whatever. But it seemed to be that there's been multiple occasions where they've been acting like a couple when, and he's feeling disrespected. So anyway, they toasted and then he moved on to the wedding. But I feel like he's still having lingering doubts about this whole thing between Zari and Diamond, which, it's glaringly obvious to me that there's something going on. Although they're not together and there might be things that about Diamond that she doesn't like that need to change and he's not the perfect person, I feel like there's still tension between the two of them. And if conditions were right, they could get back together. And that is concerning. So anyway, so they had this at the dinner with, what was her name? I forgot her name already. Oh my goodness. It's going to take me a while to remember her name. The influencer who was added to the cast. I'll have to write her name down. I keep forgetting her name. Kefilwe. So they had this lunch, and that things kind of kicked off when they had the lunch because Fantana got into this argument with Luis over, because he was, who was it had mentioned that Luis likes Kefilwe, and he mentioned that something about, he brought it up because he feels like Luis likes her, but he won't say anything. And so she was like, oh my gosh, he kind of let out that she liked him. He liked her. And she was like, me? Because prior to everybody else arriving there, when she was talking to Luis, she had mentioned that, she doesn't date younger men. And he's 30. 20. Was he 30? And she's 34. But she's like, no chance in hell. I date older men. So anyway, so now this dating thing comes back up. So now that that's brought up, Fantana is jumping in, which was really strange because, of course, he had a crush on her, but you're not together and you're messing around with Diamond. But now she's getting all huffy and puffy and just like she's very like, she seemed very offended and she seemed to be trying to embarrass him, saying that, oh, well, you know how you don't seem to know what you want. One minute you have a crush on one of Zara's friends and you have a crush on me. Next minute you're single. You were just saying you had a girlfriend, because at the wedding, the officiant, he claimed that he was seeing somebody and it was the officiant who was an older lady. And then now he's saying that he was single. But to his point, he was saying that, listen, I can see multiple people. I'm not married or anything. So why can't I see multiple people? And so, of course, she's telling him, oh, how he's broke and nobody, you know, kind of like saying how he's not influential, like nobody knows who he is, nobody wears his clothes. She's just throwing a lot of disses his way. And so everybody's trying to calm the situation. I don't know why she got so riled up. It was just really weird. Why are you going out your way to embarrass this guy? So what if he has a crush on you? Who cares? And so what if he has a crush on you and then now he likes this girl? If you feel like you really had a concern about him not being suitable or whatever, not that you know him that deeply, it doesn't seem, why wouldn't you say to her, you know, in private, say, hey, yeah, if you're thinking about dating him, he's blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, leave it up to her. Of course, it'll be up to her if she wants to pursue anything with him. But why do this in front of everybody else? So, of course, you know, everybody's trying to squash it, but Luis was like, wait a minute, you know, how is this any different? Like, I date multiple people and you also date multiple men. So how is that any different? And so, of course, everybody was like, well, you know, he has a point. I mean, that's the whole point of dating. If you're dating, it means that you're not really in a relationship. You're seeing people, getting to know them to see if you could potentially be in a relationship with them. So what is the big deal? I never understood why she was so offended. But anyway, ultimately, Nadia had to take her out to dinner because she was getting too riled up. It was just really weird. So yeah, that was messed up. But anyway, I don't know that there'll be anything between those two, because she doesn't date younger men. So yeah, he's gonna have to move on. Plus, he was just seeing the other lady. So I don't know. I don't know what Luis wants. But anyway, it seems like he wants to be a player or something like that. But he feels like, you know what, even though she's saying this now that she doesn't like younger men, then he's not going to give up. He feels like he really likes her. And so, you know, we'll see what becomes of that. And what else happened? So, this is between episode 1 and 2. Oh yeah. So then at one point we see where, Fantana went to go see Diamond in the studio. He was in the studio. She came by and he was saying how she looks good. And so she was like, I'm mad at you. They went out on the patio or something. He gave her flowers. They had, champagne or some kind of drink or whatever. And she says she's mad, but she's grinning like a giggly teenager. She's clearly like probably infatuated with him, because she wasn't taking the conversation seriously at all, because she was asking about the girl who was in Tanzania. And then she was saying, oh, I don't know how things go with, you know, people and their artists. Is she your artist? It's almost like she's putting stuff in his mouth. Like she's asking, but it's not an open-ended question for him to answer. So it's not a probing question. So he just agrees with what she's saying. And so she's like accepting it. Like, he's like, oh, she's my artist. And so he was saying, like, in his confessional, like, of course I'm seeing multiple ladies, but I'm not going to tell her that. So she's like, is this a love potion? Is there something in my drink? Why am I accepting everything you say? Because you're dumb. I hate to say you're dumb, but gullible. What is the reason? This man is not loyal to you unless you just like, you know, you guys are just in a physical type of relationship. But then don't go questioning who he's seeing otherwise then, and don't act like you're upset because he's clearly not monogamous. what's the point of this conversation? You weren't saying anything seriously. You weren't taking it seriously. You're just accepting what he says. And then, of course, he was telling her how, he missed her and, they should go to his house. We know what that means. So, of course, they went to his house. So, yeah, that conversation was a whole bunch of nothing. So anyway, later on, we see where Diamond meets up with Zari's new husband. And he was telling her, well, I guess about the whole, because they hadn't met before, but now that, he's married to her and he's going to be the dad to the kids, because apparently Diamond and Zari have been speaking. They had this huge blowout on social media, but he was invited to the wedding. He never came. And his reasoning was because, I guess, he wasn't happy with how the situation was going down. He was claiming he wasn't invited, but really he was. So anyway, when in the conversation between Diamond and the new husband, they were talking about, I guess, the relationship between the two of them. So now Diamond, with his loose lips, bring up how she was wanting to have a kid with him through a surrogate or something like that. And how when they had one of the children's birthday party, she was toasting to the new baby. And it seemed like the new husband didn't really know much about that. And he was reveling in revealing this new information to him. And so he told him to ask her to show him the text message about the conversation when he gets home. So, yeah, he said he was going to look into it further, but the marriage is not starting off on a good foot at all. But I don't know that, I feel like at some point, if Diamond ever gets it together and leave his womanizing ways behind, then him and Zari will probably get back together. I wouldn't be surprised. So now, Kaylee, when she went to the wedding, she was like oohing and eyeing about the wedding. And you could tell by the way she's talking that she's desperate. Well, I don't want to say desperate. She's longing for her own wedding because she was finally able to wrangle a divorce out of Naked DJ and still no wedding. I don't know. She hasn't said anything about a wedding date or anything. So they're engaged, but I feel like that wedding is not going to come anytime soon. And she seemed like she's just longing for that. And I don't know how long it's going to take before she even gets to that point. But anyway, so after this party now, we see where, the dinner that they had where everybody was fussing because at the dinner, Swanky even brought up how, things were being said about him. And of course, Annie's denying this stuff. But Annie, you're lying, sis. The stuff that they're brought up were all true that you said. You can at least own up to it. She's like, show me the tape. I want to hear the tape. But that was like Swanky said, that was already addressed last season. I thought you were okay with the resolution and you guys were going to move on. Now she's bringing up the tape again because of her kids. Oh, her kids mentioning this about Swanky said and blah, 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 blah. Well, you guys already squashed this. So now she's harping on the tape again. And so Swanky ended up getting up and leaving, going outside. And she's like, oh, it's a big lie. It's a lie. She's making it seem like it's a lie, but you said these things. So I don't know. I don't understand why she's in denial about the things that she actually says. Now, if somebody said something that was untrue, of course defend that. But why are you lying about something that you legit said? I was floored by that because she, in her confessional, was even crying. In her confessional hole, said that there's a bunch of snakes and, and all this, but you said it. I don't get it. Is she not remembering the stuff that she says? I don't understand. But anyway, this is my recap of season 3, episode 1 to 2. This is what I'm recalling from that main events of whatever happened. But I see that the same drama is going to be unfolding between Annie and Swanky this season. But I feel like he kind of handled this drama between the two pretty well because he didn't get riled up and didn't escalate like he normally would. He was very calm, and he got up and he left because it's like, okay, we've already addressed this. So he did say he had been in therapy over the past year, and so maybe this is what this is about. And hopefully he'll stay calm in dealing with her. But something is really wrong with Annie. I just don't understand. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this season, this episode 1 to 2.